Hello, everyone. This is Jamie White with the Supplier Diversity Economic Report. Now, what I'm about to discuss is essentially a weekly summary of things that are happening within the economy, business, et cetera, that are directly or that I believe can directly affect small businesses and diverse suppliers. So diverse, veteran owned, minority owned, women owned, disabled, LGBT, and service disabled. So this is again, I'm going to try to make this a weekly report, establish some things that you may want to keep, you know, an eye on as you're running your business and as you're kind of going through your daily processes. Now, for those who are following the channel that I have done weekly things in the past. But this one, I'm trying to establish this and make sure that it's long running because I do believe that the way that the economy and whatnot is going right now, this is definitely important. Now, before I get started, one of the things that I definitely want to mention is from a global aspect, we definitely have a strong economy running currently. The reason why I felt it was necessary to start something like this right now is because for the first time since the 2016 elections, primarily, for the United States and the Trump administration taking office, this is kind of the first time that we're seeing kind of liberal, independent, and conservative economists differing in terms of where the economy is going to go. So in the past, for the first year and a half ish, up until that June halfway point of 2018, everybody's pretty much agreed that we're going to have a strong economy. Many experts they estimated that we would have somewhere between middle to high 3%, American depending just over 4%, which was a really kind of a surprise. People are attributing that to tariffs. As you can see, we're going to go over that in this weekly post as well. But now we're seeing a diverge where conservative economists are saying that we're going to continue to grow and continue to have a strong economy and strong growth rates versus you have liberal and independent economists who are not as strongly supportive of the fact that we're going to have a strong of an economy as we've had in the past. Now, for the most part, people still believe that we're going to be somewhere in the 2-3% at by the end of the year. But again, they're liberal and these independent economists are estimating that there's going to be a drop pretty soon. Now, a couple of things that they had estimated for the reason for this didn't happen, but I just want to kind of note that this is probably a really good time because as we're seeing a little bit of turmoil, or not maybe not turmoil, but differencing of opinions currently, this is probably a good way for people to kind of get a quick look at what may be on the horizon and plan for that. However, you're dealing with your current small business or diverse business. Now, we first start off with for this week. Let me take a quick look at the dates from July 29th until August 3rd or 4th. So today's August 3rd, but so we'll say July 28th to August 3rd, which is a Friday. Um, it has just been announced that China is announcing retaliatory tariffs on about 60 billion in U.S. goods. Now, if you're not familiar with this, basically the Trump administration is now um, deciding to boost their tariffs on 200 billion worth of Chinese goods. So as you can see, they're originally they were estimating that they were going to raise it by 10%. Now they're saying that it's going to be 25%. So in retaliation to that, China is now targeting four different types of tariffs on $60 billion of U.S. goods. Now, what does this mean for kind of you as a small business? Now, we know that China, when they increase their tariffs, they target Trump stronghold places in America. So if you're dealing with, like agriculture, or if you're doing in the manufacturing sector, basically these hard red states in the middle America, Southern America, et cetera, that's essentially where China's going after. Now, so far, Trump and his supporters, or Trump supporters, excuse me, have stayed pretty strong, despite they're already being hit with high tariffs. Their businesses are currently being hit a little bit. They have still supported Trump regardless. So I believe that these 60 billion in U.S. goods will still target those areas. So if you're in kind of those urban areas, I don't see this hitting you as much. Um, but that's just kind of things that you have to look at. Now again, the original tariffs actually helped America. Um, and a lot of people are saying that people invested heavily in American goods simply because they knew the tariffs were going to hit, so they wanted to make sure that they got in. So as everything, the prices increase and people purchase them on the initial onset, they can make a lot of money in that first run up. So that's why a lot of economists are saying that that's probably the big reason why we end up going from that 3% to the 4% growth. But now that that's kind of over, now that the tariffs have hit, people are estimating, again, those liberal and independent economists are estimating that this may take a hit. So if you're in those kind of agriculture manufacturing areas, this may play a part very, very soon. So if you're in those areas, definitely take a look and kind of, read the terrain there and plan accordingly. Now, I also have, and again, this is just another article that kind of backs that up. We're looking at those farmland prices and kind of those areas that are in middle America, in those rural American cities that I believe, and which is being estimated, that are going to be hit the hardest. So again, do what you have to do in terms to kind of combat that. Now, in addition, there are some other things that I want to talk about. So this week, if you're not aware, was interest rate week, essentially for every country minus Canada, pretty much. But basically, I wanted to focus on the UK just because they were one of the more well-known countries that decided to increase their interest rates. And then I'm going to take a more domestic perspective when we're talking about North America. But to start out, UK, they hiked their interest rates for the second time in a decade. They went to 0.75% from 0.5%. Now this is causing some turmoil because Brexit. For those who are aware of the whole Brexit, the UK leaving the European Union, they still don't have a deal in place. So raising the interest rate, despite so much uncertainty, is at raising a lot of questions. Despite that, the central bank, as I said, have they've acknowledged that there are risks to this, but they do believe that this is a gradual pace, and because of the global strong economy on a global perspective, they think that they'll be fine. But again, that's something that probably needs to be taken a look at for that UK perspective, in particular when you're talking about America trying to establish their own trade deals with the UK. So if that's something that you're planning for, hoping for a kind of a new population, potential clientele in the UK. Uh, again, may want to temper expectations in that because they may be looking to pay for other things, especially if it's B2B, um, especially a B2B who takes on a lot of debt from banks. Moving forward, geez, I should have make sure that these are on top. But moving forward, so we're going to go to North America. So for this one, it's the U.S. So nothing new here. Saying the Fed says they're going to keep the interest rates unchanged for now. Now, previously, I talked about how liberal and independent economists said that the economy was going to drop. A lot of people were saying that based on the fact that they thought that the Fed was going to raise interest rates. The fact that the Fed in America has decided not to raise interest rates should change some people's perspectives on that. I even think a lot of conservative economists thought that they were going to raise interest rates as well. So just that headline alone should change some things, and it, in my perspective, should uh, push all people looking at this, all experts, kind of towards an increase in whatever number they had, because again, these lending rates still the same, um, based on the trajectory of the economy currently. We should have similar. I'm not saying 4%. I think that was extremely high, but we should have uh, a good growth rate still going forward, and that means a lot for small businesses, right? That means that especially if you're doing B2B, B2C, it's definitely still opportunity out there for the rest of 2018. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I had a quick phone call. But yeah, so again, we're still in North America and we're taking a look at Mexico. And as you can see, Mexico keeps key rate unchanged as well. Um, so I'm not going to focus too much on kind of the Mexican market today, but just wanted to, because we're looking at interest rates for this week. Just wanted to let you know again, North America, Mexico keeps their rates the same as well. And if you're interested in Canada, the scheduled dates for their interest rates announcement is September. So like I said, everybody except Canada pretty much announced their interest rate changes. So no interest rate changes in North America, which means that again, if you're looking for if you're a small business that is looking for any type of lending when it comes to banks specifically, so large, medium, or small, or credit unions, etc. We are still in a good time uh, to access capital through those institutions. So definitely take a look. I do believe that now is the time if you're looking to expand through those institutions. Again, it takes well, I don't want to estimate how long it takes for your small business to actually win a loan, but again, if you're looking to expand, now is definitely the time. And just a little bit more, just a couple of. I found this article. I thought it was pretty interesting when they were just talking about how it's not the economy, it's the interest rates, and so just basically, what's kind of helping the economy grow at this point, and if interest rates were to increase, then that could hurt the economy's growth. So the fact that interest rates do not increase bodes well if you adhere to that type of uh, ideology. And lastly, I wanted to discuss small business indices that were released this week. And essentially, what they're doing is they're just going to cover the job growth for small businesses as well as the wage growth as well. Excuse me. So, the three that I follow are the CBIZ, Small Business Employment Index, ADP, not sure what their index is called. That's fine. The ADP index, and then the paychecks index as well. There's like paychecks and IHS Market Small Business Employment Watch. So I'm just gonna go over it real quick. Now for this the reason why I follow these three is they essentially give you a month to month as well as year to date and year over year growth rate when they're just comparing, like for example, for this time it would be June to July, just kind of how we grew. And then at this point, in 2017, what this looks at as well. So pretty, just high level looks at how small businesses are hiring, and kind of what that looks like. So I follow these three because, for example, last month, I believe two of the indices had growth rate, the growth rate kind of slowing down, whereas one actually had it increasing a little bit. So it's just a really good snapshot at kind of how small businesses are working. So as you can see from the headline, CBIZ, Small Business Employment Index, follows historical summer decline for July. So obviously CBIZ, although we're seeing a continued amount of small business uh, employment or hirings happening, it's slowing down uh, overall for America, and that makes sense, right? Because we're reaching the kind of the height or the ceiling of our unemployment, right? Which is around, I think it was released 3.9% now for the month of July, which is right around kind of where, or I guess the floor would be a better example. We're seeing the floor of unemployment, as well as the ceiling for the amount, the participation rate, which is actually we're not really around the ceiling. It's usually 60% ish. It's around that number. So we're 60%, kind of at how we always are. It's just somewhere within that. But um, so just kind of a quick note. But for ADP, small businesses extend their erratic hiring. As you can see, ADP, although theirs isn't consistently down like the CBIZ, theirs is still, although it jumped to 52,000 jobs. Oops. Yeah, 50,000 jobs. Last month, it was around 31,000 new jobs. And again, this is specifically for small businesses because that's kind of what I'm taking a look at now. Gives you a quick range of how everything's happened for the year. But the average, where's the average? Here it is. The average for this year is 48,000, which is down from last year, which was around 71,000. So we are at a drop. But again, that makes sense because unemployment is so low, and with a strong economy. The only big issue, and we'll talk about paychecks real quick, which is again the same piece. while they don't give numbers, they just talk about their index, which is that 99.34, which is down 0.3% year over year, um, as well. But as you can see in this last line, but since last July, hourly earnings growth has slowed 0.54%. So that's really what we're saying here is while the jobs are still around those, again, the 50,000 estimates that we're seeing for the ADP, the wage rate isn't trending or isn't keeping pace with that. So definitely something to be aware of, kind of moving forward. And then lastly, a record number of job openings for small businesses, right? So I think I saw a number where I think unemployment is around 6.1%, but or not 6.1, 6.1 million. But then in terms of job openings, it's around like 6.6 million. So basically, if you have the skill set, you can pretty much get a job right now. But unfortunately, when it comes to small businesses, your a lot of skill sets just aren't matching um, job openings, which is, as we can see, based on the National Federation of Independent Business, is at a record high. So again, if you're a small business, this is definitely something that you need to know and kind of plan accordingly for that. Now, if you do have kind of a well, I guess more so to say, if you do have an opening, kind of figuring out ways to making sure that that is an opportunity that is, I don't know, beneficial or looks appealing to job applicants, because there's a lot of jobs out there that people can take. So, with that being said, that just kind of quickly summarizes some of the things that I want to talk about for the week. If you have any questions or comments, definitely leave them down below, and I will get back to you. So, thank you and have a great day.